this is the most information we've gotten about the Xindi arc, I think, in an episode. Like the reveal that there's something else is kind of a big reveal. You learn more about the spheres. You learn that those religious zealots in the previous episode were actually right about something. Their faith is based in some kind of fact, or at least they understand something that's going on. So it feels like it's big. Have we already talked about why we don't feel that it feels that way, or do you think that there's something we missed here for why this feels like such a letdown, even though it's the most Xindi-esque information dump we've had to this point? We were begging for Xindi information dumps.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think maybe because whatever this is still pretty vague. It's also a very long shot of a plan that I can't believe worked, that they plugged this guy into this giant cluster of anomaly stuff. Specifically, I am assuming he was put there for the purpose of the Enterprise's finding him.
I don't know. I legitimately think he's there to test what it's like to live in that environment for whatever reason.
Oh, so you don't think that him trying to destroy the Enterprise was like part of the plan?
That's a good question. I think maybe it was part of the plan.
Because if that was the plan, that's like a bad guy in Skyfall level of coincidences need to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the general problem with the plot of that story, or the way that plot shakes out. Everything that happens doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense to me about why it's happening. Like whether or not this guy is in on it from the beginning. If he's not in on it from the beginning, why does he suddenly decide to destroy the ship? You know, and that doesn't make a lot of sense because they're trying to help him. Is Phlox dead at the end of this episode?
That was intense. He got like phantom knifed through the neck or something. I'm not sure what happened.
The guy's also destroying computer systems as he's walking through them. So did he like just break his neck when he put his arm through him? Because he collapsed like he broke his neck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it only works on computers.
We'll have Phlox Sim next episode, I guess. But I think that's the problem with it. It's another Xindi arc that's it's not really clear what's going on. It feels somewhat effective just because they're telling you that something's going on. And I like the ending about revealing that information, even if I think it's kind of cheesy that Archer figured it out somehow. I think it's a lot of information, but at the same time, as you say, it's vague and it doesn't really, it's not novel in a way that's interesting compared to the rest of the episode, which is actually novel in how they're treating these character interactions with each other. This one just felt, I don't know, it felt flat to me. I was just surprised by that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that mid-season of 24 kind of stark step up thing where, like, the first half of 24, first half of the season, Jack Bauer's chasing this one guy, and then he finally gets him at the halfway point, and it's at that point that he realizes, oh shit, it's actually the president who's behind everything.
Yes, it's the head of my agency who's been behind pulling the strings the entire time.
Yeah, it doesn't have that because like there thus far has been no resolution with the Xindi, nor has there been like a really satisfying anything.
Yep.
So much with the Xindi. So adding another sort of vague, like larger thing.
Well, this guy's a sphere builder, right? Is that what you take away from it?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't see his labor union card, but
it's a strong union. It's hard to tell who's in it. I have to assume he's a sphere builder. That is, and this is sort of there's some DS9 episode where they sent in, what did they do? They sent in like a Vorta or something, and then the Vorta reveals.
I don't want you to say anything bad about Sphere Builders 101, okay?
This felt to me like
the 205. The 205, those guys are all assholes.
It's an episode of The Irishman all of a sudden. I felt that this was like that DS9 episode where I think it was a Vorta came on before people knew what a Vorta was. And then when it's revealed that they're a part of it at the end, it's supposed to be a realization that like you've been in contact with the Dominion at that point.
Sure.
I think this guy is I would have to guess this guy's supposed to be a sphere builder character. And
Yeah,
I have to
probably,
assume that
yeah.
he's telling the truth, that he doesn't come from real space. He's from some trans-dimensional universe or something that he says. So we learned that, I guess. I don't know if that... I'm just saying that to your point of you feel that in 24 they would have a mid-season flip. I feel like this was supposed to be, but they almost don't tell you enough information about it to get that point across.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is that like there's I don't think it needs to be like a hard flip, but I feel like the main plot hasn't really justified this widening out of the circle, even though they've kind of been, I guess they've clearly been intending to do something because the spheres have been there for the whole season.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like they're missing a step, or maybe it's the fact that it is so vague still that it's not totally coalescing. It's not making me go, oh,
Well,
that's crazy.
yeah, well, I think this ultimately comes back to the problem with the Xindi, right? If they're saying that there's another species that's playing the Xindis and humans against each other, when we come to terms with the Xindi, as I assume must happen when we like work together to defeat this other group, I'm not going to feel that was a very big flip because we don't know anything about the Xindi at this point, you know?
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
joining up with them is not really... If this was like the Cardassians or something, where you've seen examples of how horrible of a people they are in their private lives, it kind of means something to join forces with them, like they do at the end of DS9. And this doesn't have that. And I think it's a big problem. I think is that the Xindi continue to not really be a character or a species at all.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if this is sort of like is this going to be like a sidestep of the Xindi, where it's like the Xindi isn't quite working, so we got
to break. Well, yeah,
Galactus into the mix.
As you say, the spheres have been there from the beginning, so it feels a little bit protected from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% convinced that it's working.